Hello everyone, welcome to my lazy day garden. Steve from Steve's Growing Space tagged me to do a video on the 3 things I learned from this growing season. And it's tough because I learned a lot. I normally do containers, and this year I ventured out into my yard and did earth bed gardens. I've done tomatoes before and peppers, and I think I did potatoes once. But pretty much everything out in the earth bed was new to me, and I learned a lot. But there are 3 things that really stand out. I wrote them down. That really stand out to me and had a real impact on how I do things and how I'm going to do things next year. And the first one's actually kind of neat. I got it written down. Composting is fun. Now, that's one lesson I learned this year. I've always composted since I've been here. I had a little black trash can I did my composting in for my container gardening and everything. But I really had to up my game having it out in the earth beds. And I can go on about amending my soil would be one, but I've already did amending my soil in several videos, and I'm not even going to include it in this one. It's just the composting part. So I now have a pallet bin, a geo bin, and my black bin. And of course, y'all know I have worms now too. But I'm really getting into the composting, and probably more than a normal person would consider it sane, but it's fun. It's as fun to me as the actual gardening, so there you go. But I know you can cold compost, but this year for the first time I did hot composting. And I got a thermometer and composting thermometer and everything. And I had a blast. I had that compost in about 5 weeks. The hottest temperature I could get was 128, but there's always next year. But I really enjoy composting to a high degree. It's almost not sane. But that's the first thing I learned, and of course that helps in so many ways in my garden and has changed my whole outlook on gardening. So like I said, I've done it before, but never to the extent I'm doing it this year. So that's my number 1 lesson. Now, the second lesson was I learned about powdery mildew. I've heard about it. Never actually had it myself because I really didn't do anything. You know, I had zucchini once, but it never got powdery mildew. So early on, about July, I saw this powder on my yellow squash, and I go, oh, that must be the powdery mildew everybody talks about. Before long, it was on all my yellow squashes and on my zucchini, and I kept putting it off, going, yeah, I'll have to look it up and see how these people deal with this. Eventually, I did start dealing with it, but I dealt with it too late. And then I was then it got over into my winter squash, my 20-foot vines. I had 3 20-foot vines of buttercup, beautiful buttercup, got lots of fruits off of them. But it got over into that, and by then I was just wanting to pull my hair out. And I can't remember what I used. I used a couple different things, and it kind of kept it at bay. But, through the rest of the season, it kind of kept it all at bay. But I really needed to, the first time I saw it in July, I really needed to jump on it. So that's my second lesson, part 1 of my second lesson, is try to get out ahead of that, before July, because that's when it starts to get hot here and apparently and moist. I don't know what causes it, but I don't know if you can completely keep it away, but I really need to jump on those things right away. I did pretty good with the little green caterpillars on things, but I wasn't so great on the powdery mildew, and it kind of ruined my gardening experience because all my beautiful plants suddenly were just covered with it. And it upset me. I kept them going to get some fruit off of them, but it was upsetting. And the second part to this second lesson is to have backup plants. Now, I'm not talking succession planting like every 2 weeks you do with carrots and radishes and stuff. I'm saying once I get that squash in the ground, the butternut or whatever in the ground, it gets going, go ahead and start some more. Because instead of having to battle this the whole summer long if it gets to the point where I'm just, the plant is just dying on me, just have another one for backup going to be able to stick into the ground. And start it in from a seedling stage after the other one's going and get it ready. And, I was thinking even when I did my buttercups and spaghetti to just do one of each and let them go. And then when they eventually get this powdery mildew, have my backups ready to take out there, and there'll be space to put some more in there. So, I mean, that's a thought, but powdery mildew and having backup plants is my second lesson I learned. Okay, so my third lesson is something I am still learning, and it's the sun. I have two big oak trees, one on the northeast side of my yard, smack dab in the middle, and one on the southwest side of my yard, smack dab in the middle of my garden. My garden's right in the middle of them. Now, because I had grown wildflowers between the two before, wildflowers that required sun, I thought I could pull off vegetables there. But I also had trouble with the rain getting down because the leaves were stopping the rain from getting down to that middle section. So that was probably not a really good idea, but the wildflowers always grew there, and as you know, I'm putting wildflowers back there again. But I can go along the edges of the area. Okay, I'm not going to get into it, but anyway, I've rearranged my gardens for next year. Hopefully we'll get more sun. I didn't really start paying attention to the tracking on the sun until July, so I don't know how things are going to be in May and June. But I'll learn from next year. I'll do a good job of tracking the sun next year. I pulled my garden forward towards my house, which will help a lot. And also, I know this is an obvious thing, and I'm not a dumb person, I know this, but don't plant tall things in front of short things. Which, even though I'm an intelligent person and I know this, I still did it anyway, and that didn't help either. So now all the tall stuff goes to the north part of the garden, and hopefully there's enough sun over there since they're tall and they reach up in the sky. They should get the sun. Where when I planted things down before, they just couldn't get past the bush back there and everything to get some sun. I know I'm getting too into this here, but so the sun is a big deal. I have between 6 and, if I'm lucky, 7 hours of sun on the other side of my yard. So it's more like 6.5. That's it. I'll check out the sun next spring, May and June, and see if the back of the yard, I have a large area in the back of the yard, to see if maybe I get more sun there, and maybe I could put the taller plants back there. But the problem with that is it gets dry here a lot, and it's a long way to get water out there to it. Generally, I like things close to the house. It's more private, for one thing, and I don't have to stretch garden hoses clear to the back. Plus, I got my native plants back there, and I want to keep the two kind of separated. But I will check in, and I'll start tracking in May. And this is a lesson I learned: track it each month, because the sun's in a different spot each month, and hopefully where I'm putting them now, the beds now, everything should be fine. But I do question the north side over here, whether I'm going to put corn in next year, sweet corn, and my winter squash, trellis it over on this north side. And the peppers grew there okay, so, and I had plants in the middle. I had vegetables, just very little, and they just didn't flourish at all. So we'll just keep moving around till I get the right spot on the sun. So that was the third lesson I learned. So the first one was composting is fun. The second lesson I learned was powdery mildew, get out ahead of it. And the second part of that was have backups in case it just becomes too overwhelming for me and I say the heck with it. Have backup plants to go in. And the third lesson is watch the sun and track it, and I need get those plants in the sun as much as I can. I don't have a lot in my backyard because of those two trees, but we'll work around it. Those trees aren't going anywhere. So I did have them trim the trees up so the sun can get, as it's going down and stuff can get through that. It actually hits his patio pretty good in the afternoon. So the sun is blocked from the garden between 1:30 and 4:30, which is really, it gets really hot. It's actually really nice. That gives the plants a break because that's from the sun during the hottest part of the day. And then at 4:30 it angles in this way and comes all the way to the patio across the garden. So actually it's pretty good that they get like a 3-hour break in there. Okay, so that's it. The sun was the third thing I learned. So okay, now I have to tag 3 people. And the first one is the outdoor gardener. And she's really cool. She is doing hydroponics in her house, and she has this golden zucchini that just fascinates me, that she's growing indoors, and it's got little zucchini on it and everything. So cool. The second one is the Green Thumb Gardening Channel. I don't know if he's been tagged yet, but I can't plant anything. I think he's down in Georgia. I can't plant a lot of the stuff he plants. He just wouldn't make it up here in Missouri, but I love to watch him do pineapples and grow pineapples and some of these really cool vegetables and fruits that I can't grow up here. And I really like his channel. And the third one is Pennington Garden Life. And they're a retired couple, and they have it looks like they live in a trailer house, and they have this really neat raised bed gardens back behind their house. And I really enjoy their channel and her gardens there. And her name's Cheryl, and she just had surgery, and I don't know how long she'll be out of commission here, but when she comes back, I'm hoping she will do the 3 lessons she learned this gardening season. That would be really cool. So anyway, thank you for watching, and you have a nice Sunday, and I'll see y'all again soon. Bye-bye.